This video, I'm gonna share the hard truth about being a professional chess player. Now, before we start, a quick reminder, there is a huge sale on 10-day opening mastery. Just visit the website, there are free tutorials. If you decide this is something for you and you want to finally bring your chess into a completely new level, take advantage of that huge deal before it disappears. People are happy about it, just take a look at the reviews, and I hope to see you in the course. And of course, if you are not happy with the course for any possible reason, you can get the money back 100% with our 7-day money back guarantee. So I played this biggest chess tournament in the entire world, the Grand Chess Open. Magnus Carlsen was there, a lot of superstars were there. Hans Niemann has won this amazing tournament. I mean, this is a truly honor to be a part of this chess competition, of this chess celebration, basically, because you never see so many players in the same place. First time, by the way, I have ever seen Magnus Carlsen in person in my life, and the film was incredible. I mean, when you only see people like that on TV and YouTube, but when you see them in person, you realize kind of those are real people. They really sit there at the table, they really play chess just like you do, but well, somehow they just always win at the end of the day and you don't. But other than that, those are real human beings, and this realization already helps a lot. The atmosphere of the tournament was just amazing. So many people, 2,500 of just participants playing in the game. There were a lot of viewers, and this feeling of playing at the same place with a lot of superstars, with probably the best player in the entire chess history himself, this is incredible, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity. Personally, the tournament for me was incredibly tough. I started it very good. You can see it here. I have scored 3 out of 3 perfect beginning of the tournament. There are 9 rounds in total, but the tournament is so fast. It's like 5 days, and we started on the first day in the evening. And I was finishing my game at almost 12 o'clock at the night. And the next day, you have to start at 9 a.m. I mean, that alone was absolutely crazy. But nevertheless, I made this brilliant move in this first round. Queen to d2, sacrificing this exchange. Of course, I'm gonna show you all of the games later on. I just feel I have to express my feelings, overall impressions, because this was such a huge tournament, and you definitely deserve to know what I was feeling throughout the way, why it's so difficult, and hopefully you can help me to overcome the biggest problem I have throughout my entire life in chess. So queen to d2, I'm sacrificing the exchange, and what I like, I think they really improved these brilliant and great moves features on chess.com, because objectively, like, the engine evaluation is 000 in this position. But from a human perspective, I feel like it's a brilliant move. Because if you go back to this position, the rook is hanging. If you just go back, then there is everything normal. Black can just play rook d8, fight for this file, exchange everything, and basically it would be very, very difficult to get anything for white. But when you play queen to d2, I felt like I have to do it. I didn't know, of course, whether the sacrifice really works out, but I felt from a human perspective, it's going to be very difficult for black to take that exchange. I mean, just look at this diagonal. The queen is coming, and you are not happy to face all of those difficulties. The engine doesn't care. It says, well, it's 000. I'm going to just defend like a machine because I'm one, and well, you have no chances. But when you're playing against a human being, this is psychologically incredibly difficult. And what that helps, my opponent just played b4, that now I control the d file, and it's not that simple for black to neutralize the entire activity. And I went on to win this crazy game. Now I scored those 3 out of 3 in the very beginning, and then I faced the world's chess champion, the current world chess champion, under 20 years, Maurizi Mark Andrea. And this game was so crazy. I was fighting like a real tiger. I was playing as black, and in the end of the day, we reached to an incredibly crazy position here. Like, just imagine, I'm gonna just play bishop to d4, and I'm constantly under a huge, severe time trouble because it's not like a normal FIDE control when you get half an hour. If you have ever played the real chess tournaments, you probably know the official FIDE control. You get 30 minutes after the move 40, and then you have some time to relax, to maybe digest everything that happened. But in this tournament, because you always had 2 rounds per day, it's an insane overload for a human body. I mean, for me, it was incredibly tough. I also needed to travel like half an hour to the plane venue, and the weather was not always nice. I mean, it's Germany, so you don't expect a nice weather here. And anyway, in this position, my opponent played the world champion, played bishop to d4. I mean, just look at this bishop, controlling everything. This pawn is going here, those pawns are going there, and I don't have any time, and I'm sitting there like crazy trying to understand what's going on because I wasn't expecting that move at all. I was calculating some captures, some crazy variations, but my opponent plays that. I'm playing rook to a8 after a long thought because it feels like I'm connecting the rooks and I'm controlling the back rank. And psychologically, it's like as long as you control that, you feel pretty safe. And my opponent takes here on g7. I give a check to avoid this attack. Then I thought I should be not that bad here because I play king f5. I'm attacking that pawn, and I just prayed because you see I had absolutely no time. I just prayed that it's gonna work out and my passers are gonna compensate because otherwise my opponent is gonna win everything over here. And this is what happened. I managed to take one pawn, then another one, and we ended up in a position with the bishop and rook against the rook. I mean, this is a crazy, crazy endgame. Theoretically, it's a draw, but you need to be so precise. And unfortunately, I wasn't. I just couldn't handle this pressure in a huge, severe time trouble. And I lost the game, but I felt like I have played against such a strong opponent, probably the strongest in my entire life. I mean, except for Fabiana Caruana, but I mean the classical chess, of course. And so I was very optimistic that I'm capable of playing such a huge game, level game, because the entire game I was doing pretty good there against such a strong player. And so the next round, I beat the guy as white. And I was once again very optimistic. It's half of the tournament. I have 4.5. Next round in the morning, I have with black pieces again an incredibly strong grandmaster, 25-75. And this time I reached pretty much the same endgame, but I managed to achieve the draw. In this position, I was playing black, and I was once again in severe time trouble. I mean, when you play against strong guys and they're creating thousands threats, you need time to digest all of that. And then you have a risk, of course, to get into the situation when you couldn't really handle it because the threats are still coming, but you have no time, then you make mistakes. But I was happy here, at least to take that pawn, and objectively, the position is winning for white. But I played rook c2, and it's not that simple to find the best move. Pause the video for a second if you want to find it. It's a very useful exercise. But I'm attacking that pawn on c6, and as long as I just take it, then I'm gonna attack that pawn, and it seems like I'm gonna be good. So white has right now to do something crazy, something really dangerous. And I was calculating the move rook g to c1 and the rook a to c1. So if you go rook g to c1, the problem is your king is not really secured, and it's just getting checkmated. Check, check, another check, and then it seems like the king is more or less hiding because you cannot go here. It's going to be taken, and if you go there, then the king is going to h6. But you just make a quiet move, you make sure the king doesn't escape, and there is absolutely nothing stopping you from checkmating the king next move. So I was happy that this is not possible. And then I saw the move rook a to c1, and I thought that's completely winning for white. But then I started to calculate it carefully. Thank God it was move number 42, so I had those 15 minutes. And I have found the solution. This is actually a draw, a completely equal position if you fight it. So I start with the move f2. This is an intermezzo move, the key move. Otherwise, I mean, if the rook would be on f1 instead of g1, the entire idea wouldn't work at all. But now I'm using this tempo move because if you take the rook, I'm going to just take your rook, promote the queen, and I'm going to win. So my opponent plays rook to f1. I'm taking now the rook, and the key idea I'm taking here on c6. I'm sacrificing my bishop. You cannot take it with the rook because I'm going to promote my queen and win the game. And if you take with the bishop, I just take the pawn. And now, of course, I'm gonna lose the f2 pawn, but I have 3 against 1, and I was so scared to get that rook and bishop against the rook once again. Remember, I just had it yesterday, and I'm once again playing against a very strong grandmaster, and I thought, if I'm gonna get it again and lose, I mean, what is the percentage of such an event happening? I This is literally the first time I got the bishop and rook against rook position in my entire chess career, and then the very next day I get it again and I lose. I'm not gonna survive it. But thank God I survived without getting into that position. I just played g6, king g7, and then my opponents tried everything to win this game somehow, but I was rock solid and achieved that very, very necessary draw for me. So I was here after round number 6, two-thirds of the tournament are behind me. I have a performance above 2500. I'm very happy with my result because I see that the Grandmaster norm is there. It's like, yes, it's still 3 rounds to go, but I feel like I'm capable of doing that. And here is the moment where my biggest chess problem appears. This is the psychology. As long as, I mean, it's just the beginning of the tournament, I can just play normally. I played against the strongest player I have ever faced in classical chess, the world chess champion, but I wasn't really worried a lot because, I mean, he's so strong. If I lose, nothing bad happens. So I had this freedom of just playing. When I reached the end game, I thought, okay, the minimum task is done. I have reached into the endgame, and the endgame doesn't feel bad for me. I was very happy with my game. But when I see this goal, like some prize, or in this part of my career, the Grandmaster norm is what I'm chasing for, I suddenly completely collapse. And this is exactly what happened in this game. So in the round number 7, I played pretty good. I finally had white pieces against a strong grandmaster. And after some long theoretical variations, we have reached this position where I'm just slightly better, I thought, but the engine says the position is completely equal. And unfortunately, I didn't know that. I mean, if I knew this is equal, I would just offer him a draw. And I'm almost certain, because he said after the game he's very tired, that he would agree to it, because if white doesn't want to win here, then it's very difficult to for black to do something active. I mean, if you play c5, I'm gonna just take it and attack you. You're gonna just lose immediately. And otherwise, there is basically no active idea because you constantly have to defend that pawn on c4, and there is nothing you can do. So basically, I would secure a draw, and then going into the last day of the tournament, 2 rounds to go, I had so good chances to achieve my goal. But unfortunately, I don't know what happened to me. This feeling of having that goal pretty near just completely crushed me, and I went to head this position after queen e4, knight to d5. I now have to take this c4 pawn at some point, and then my opponent takes, and suddenly this knight is so amazing, and all of my pieces are going back, and this is a very, very suffering endgame for me, and I just collapsed completely. I lost the game, and I proceeded to lose more here in the last day. I mean, I understood that my chances are pretty gone for the norm because of this loss, and I was so upset. I couldn't just handle it anymore, and this is my problem. I can't just forget about this loss and move on and just play the very next game as if this is just a normal game. I just cannot do it. I'm always there just thinking, oh my God, I spoiled my chances. I lost the game instead of making a draw. And now I have to win as black pieces. My opponent is still pretty strong. And so I spoiled the very next game. And then the last game I was having white pieces. I just wished for it to end as fast as possible. And this is of course not the right attitude. And that led to a horrible, horrible game in the last round. Thank God I didn't lose because I had such a bad position out of the opening. Here is the key moment. My opponent just took this pawn on b2 thanks to the fact that the knight is pinned. Position is so crazy. My king is dangerous, extremely dangerous. And then he had this opportunity. Fortunately for me, he didn't find it. I saw it and I kind of bluffed in the end of the day with my queen to d6 move. I mean, I hoped for it to work, but then I saw the right move for him and it doesn't work. The reason is I just grabbed the knight for free. And right now I have an extra piece and some pawns probably. Yeah, 1 pawn. But my opponent plays queen to b4 and there is no way for me to save the king. I wanted to play queen to d3 and I thought I'm good because now the only check is queen a4. Then I play queen to b3. Yes, you can grab the queen, but then I attack it. Then I'm gonna take the bishop, and I thought I'm better here, and the engine confirms. But the problem is something I missed, the most complicated thing in chess, the quiet moves. My opponent just moves back with the bishop somewhere, and then there is basically no way to save the king. I'm gonna have a desperate position, a lot of material down, and of course, this is much better for black. Instead, my opponent didn't find it and played rook to c8. He was also incredibly tired. I mean, this tournament, it's so crazy. You have 9 rounds in just 4.5 days, and you're so exhausted. This is the disadvantage. I mean, I understand it's much simpler for organizers to have like 3,000 people in just 5 days instead of having a long-term, like 9 or 10 days tournament. But physically, it's incredibly difficult. And I mean, I'm still pretty young. I can't imagine how difficult it is for the guys 50 plus, 60 plus who were a lot there playing in the tournaments. I just sincerely admire their strengths. Anyway, my opponent played rook c8. I just exchanged the rooks. And here I took there on d7, and I was pretty happy. I thought I'm gonna have 2 pieces, but I was just too blind. I didn't see the tactics anymore. I still saw that rook c7, I can play knight to c4 because I cannot play bishop c4. My opponent can take the knight and then the bishop. But after knight c4, I was pretty optimistic. Suddenly, my opponent plays rook to b4. Of course, I still saw that, and I thought after king to c3, I protect that, and after rook to b1, I'm gonna be able to somehow uh, get out of it. But what I completely missed, I was calculating something like king to d2, and this is completely losing. Why? Because my opponent just takes on c4 using the beam. I just completely forgot about this opportunity in the variation. Thank God I noticed it here before playing king to c2, and I decided, okay, I still have an extra pawn in this rook endgame, so maybe I'm gonna have good chances. I mean, on a normal day, I'm pretty sure I would have won this game so badly. I had absolutely zero energy in me to win this game, and later on, I actually had a completely winning opportunity here after my opponent played rook e3. Feel free to pause the video for a second and find the best move. It was the move king to h4. And I saw it. This is the most painful thing for me. I really saw this move, but I didn't play it. I played rook to c2 instead. I thought my opponent cannot do anything, so let me improve my rook's position first, so that when I give check, he cannot attack me, and then I play king g5. But it just destroys everything. So the idea is I play king to h4. There is nothing stopping me from rook d6. Well, you can just try to play rook a6, but then I just play anything, and there is basically a Zugzwang. You cannot go away with the king because my king is going to be coming. You cannot go away along the a file with the rook because check, and once again, the rook is coming. And I don't care about that a rook, a pawn, sorry, because I'm just destroying everything here. I'm taking, just like that, I'm having a lot of pawns here, and this is enough to win the game. And if you try to stay along the 6th rank, then I just go behind, attack that pawn, and sooner or later you just run out of moves and you lose here. Instead of that, I didn't even play the move king to h4. I played rook to c2 with an idea to just improve my rook's position first. But now my opponent can just play king g7, then next move into h6, and I don't have any chances at all. There is absolutely no way to kick him away, and I had no chances to win the game anymore. So this is it. Instead of having an incredible tournament with a huge plus in terms of rating, because after the first 6 rounds, I was on a very decent plus. I was having very good chances. Then I just destroyed everything because I just collapsed. I can't explain what happened in the last 3 rounds. So if you have any advices how to do that, because I am 100% sure it all happened because of the psychology, because I saw that goal in front of me and I thought, I can achieve that. And when that happens, it already happened so many times in my career before. I just couldn't handle the pressure. I'm constantly thinking about it instead of just focusing on the position, thinking that, well, every game is just one game. You don't care about what's going on in the tournament. You just want to play a good game of chess. This is the right approach, and I know it, but I can't do it. This is my problem. I can't get this stability inside of me to make it happen. I did it once when I was scoring those international master norms. So it's not like I haven't achieved anything in my life. I also have won a lot of tournaments throughout my career in all over the place in so many different countries. So somehow it works sometimes. But here I have this major goal to become a grandmaster, and I'm doing my best to achieve it. And I feel like I can really play very good against those super grandmasters. But when the goal is near, I completely collapse. If any of you have any experience with that and have any advices for me, I would be so thankful. That would mean the world to me. The next videos, you're gonna see a detailed recap of every game I have played there, because there are so many lessons to learn, and I'm sure you can become a much stronger chess player, because analyzing the games is the number one thing you can do in chess. So I'm gonna try to dive deep into those games and nuances of the situations where I made my mistakes, where I found the right moves, what was the difference between that. I'm gonna explain all of that to you, and of course help you achieve your chess goals. Now in this video I share with you 5 things that I wish I knew when I was 1011.